Okay?
I'm okay. Are you okay?
Good. I'm fine.
Good.
I'm fine.
Grimwade gang, you okay? Welcome back to the Grimwade family channel. And if you ain't part of the Grimwade gang, then walk on, because you're going to need you some Grimwade swag. You hear me? Guys, a bit more somber, a bit more serious today. Yeah, let's talk. We the Grimwades, welcome to the show. Spreading good vibes, gonna let everybody know there's a window to our lives, so watch everybody grow. And everybody's welcome, from the royals to the pros. Yeah, love and checking out the journey. Big fam, couple guys, couple girlies. We're spreading happiness from early. Subscribe to the vibe, you heard me?
Oh my days.
So, babes, how you feeling?
I'm cool.
You're cool?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Should we share with the Grimwade gang why I may particularly be asking you that question?
Yes. So, unfortunately, we just laid to rest my biological granddad. Now, people might be saying, your biological granddad? That's because I was adopted at 8 days old, but pretty much from birth. That was just due to a complication in the hospital. But after 8 days, I went down south because I was born in North London, that is, not North England. And I was shipped down south, and I lived with the wonderful parents that have raised me, Mr. and Mrs. Grimwade, Mum and Dad, Andrew and Melanie.
Any other way you're going to call them.
So, yes, it feels very weird for me to say, I don't like saying elders' first names, it just never sits right with me. So I've done that for your purposes. But if I seem weird at all when I say it, that's why.
Odd for you, yeah.
Very. Yeah, so I was adopted then, and then fast forward 33 years.
33, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I had a wife, not at 33 years. I had been with her for a while by then. While.
Yeah, long time. Very long time. But not too long, because any time with you is not long enough.
Oh,
that was
tell that. Preach it, woman.
That's true, though. But
yeah, and likewise. But yeah, and then my dear wife.
Yes.
Decided to find my biological parents.
But let's give a little bit of a backdrop to that, because from the time that I knew Tim, we'd had these discussions. Obviously, he was very open with me about the fact that he'd been adopted. I'm someone that likes to ask lots of questions. If I get that one-on-one time with you, I'll be like, so, no, and the questions will start really.
Sorry, I was shocked.
What do you mean? So stupid. Yes, I like to ask lots of questions, which may be annoying, I don't know, but so if it is. But hey, how do you get to know someone if you don't ask questions? You know what I mean? Anyway, so from when I first met him, I asked him loads of questions, and some of them being, finding out that he was adopted. Would he ever want to find his birth parents? Because I found it intriguing. Like, of course, he's been adopted from birth, which of course is like all he knows. His parents are his parents. Like, that's all he's ever known. But the fact that there was somebody else out there that you're related to through blood, like, I thought, wow. To be fair, I was like, oh, that's like an adventure. That's exciting kind of thing.
And what did I respond to that?
Well, no, back in the day, you was like, no, I'm not really interested. Which I was a bit like, okay. And the reason I was a bit like, oh, was because
I would only... the adventure.
I wanted to go on the adventure, but I only ever wanted him to do it if he really wanted to do it. And I think through knowing him from the time that I did, up until the point where I actually did find his birth parents, I could see whether he would have been ready for it or not. Now, looking at Tim, obviously he's a man, he's got children, he's got a wife. You think, how could he not be ready for that kind of thing? He can deal with whatever. Well, that's what I kind of think of with Tim. He can deal with anything. But obviously, living in close proximity with him all those years, once we'd obviously got married and known each other, blah, like, I kind of just see that everything happened at the right time, because we met obviously when we were teenagers and we still had growing to do as people.
Oh, for sure.
And I feel like...
Still do now.
Yeah, of course. Life is an ongoing lesson, isn't it? Like, you're always learning. And I feel like when we were a bit younger, before we'd had, children of our own and created our own family, I feel like finding your birth family may have been a bit premature, like, for you to do, because I didn't know how you would react. And I think something that always played through my mind is, is it, well, I don't know if this saying actually fits right here, like don't break something that's not broken, or try and fix something that's not broken. I totally butchered that.
You've butchered it so much that I can't think if it's not broke, why try fix it?
Precisely. That's what the saying is, yeah. And it wasn't like Tim particularly felt like, oh, there's a part of me that's missing.
Not that I was cognizant of.
Not that you was aware of, precisely. Myself being me, I kind of felt like, but it's your blood parents.
But you must feel something.
There must be something, do you know what I mean? And it's not until we obviously, how far married had we been? Because if you was 33...
Well, we're going on to 12 years married, so it'll be about 9 years married, 9 years married.
So that's about how long we was married for. And I just felt like we'd had 4 children by that time. So
these lot all ramping outside, but anyway.
And Houston's laughing their head off. But we'd had 4 children by that time, because I shortly after found out I was pregnant with Hazara. That, didn't we? So we was at a point...
no, we don't want to jump here.
Yeah. We was at a point where, we felt quite solid within ourselves as a couple. We felt solid as a family. Yeah. We'd been together, like I said, for 9 years. So I'd previously looked into it like years before and then thought, no, it's not the time. Yeah. Because you feel things within yourself, don't you? And you feel like, oh, I think that's important. Now.
I think it's important in life to listen to that.
Yeah.
Because, like you rightly say, you feel things. And people who don't listen to their gut, I find often end up in a bit of a madness. Yes. Your gut always tells you something.
Precisely. And I think the deciding factor for me was that there was a point in your life where I felt like if you had met your birth parents and they rejected you, it really would have like hurt you kind of thing. And then we got to a point where I felt like you had become your own man enough that you would be able to deal with that if it did happen. Yeah. The only other thing that ran through my head was, and this is really bad,
there you go.
But what if we find them and they're not like our kind of people? Then they really want to be in our lives and we're a bit like, not sure. No, I was like, no, it'll be fine. Like, at the end of the day, we're loving people.
No, it's honest. It's real. You got to speak the real, man.
I'm sure it would work out. I kind of just trusted that bit to God.
Yeah. And it came through, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely, precisely. So it all worked out. But like at the time, I feel like when because I'd contacted his dad on Facebook years prior to when we actually ended up finding your dad, I hadn't realised that I'd added your dad as a friend like years before. Okay. And it wasn't until one day when I was sitting at work, when I worked full time in an office and we'd just finished a really busy project and we had a bit of downtime, I went on Facebook. Am I allowed to say that now? I've not worked there for quite a while. I went on Facebook whilst at work. I kind of did a bit of investigating and I realised, oh gosh, I'd messaged this guy whose name is Stuart Brighty and he looks exactly like Tim. Little did I know that once he found his mum, I realised how much you look like your mum, like crazily. But yeah, there was definitely strong resemblances between you and your dad. And then obviously messaged Dad Brighty, and then it was long. This is not really all the, but I was probably going into more information than I needed to. But I messaged Dad, and I basically just kind of answered some questions that didn't really put everything out there, but then a bit of it. And long story short, we found out that it was obviously Tim's birth dad, and we got in touch. So that all happened back in whenever it was, like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, 3-4 years ago.
And then obviously things moved on quite swiftly to the point that I'd contacted Tim's dad on like the Thursday, I think it was, and we were meeting him by the Saturday, and then we were meeting the entire family like a week and a half, 2 weeks later, because it just so happened to fall on the time of Dad Brighty and Mum Brighty, Dad's wife, Mum Tracy's wedding anniversary, and they were having a barbecue in the garden. It was like, come along, meet the whole family. And, we're quite outgoing. We're like, why not? I don't think it was until the very day we was a bit like,
this could be funny.
Your family, like how's this gonna go down?
But we're not the type to feel away. Like we just be like, let's do it. What's the worst that can happen? Do you know what I mean? So,
and that's where we met your aunties and. Auntie and auntie's friends and all this and family and obviously cousins brothers and grandma and granddad or nan and granddad.
And
that's where we come to this point.
Yes, and basically, as I said, we laid granddad to rest the other day, and it's a very, very surreal feeling for myself. And I feel like this is something I need to share because I feel like I'm probably not the only one who feels it.
Yeah.
And if me sharing can help, then I would like it to do so. So when I got the news that Granddad wasn't very well, Dad Brighty, my biological dad, I had sent a voice note back to him, and he said he had to play it to Mum Tracy because he couldn't believe that I actually sounded emotional or moved by it, because I'm not really that kind of guy.
He does get emotional, but you are quite
very rarely.
Yeah, you cried when Hezzy was born.
Yeah.
Maybe there's been a couple of other occasions since then that I can't really quite remember right now. But
I'm loving, like, I'm in that way, like I'll express stuff, but I'm not very good at, like, I'm very practical.
Yes.
You know, what needs to be done, and maybe I'm storing it up for future, I don't know, and there's going to be a big outpouring maybe, but
I'll be here.
Yeah, thank you, darling.
When that happens, but
I appreciate that. But at the same time, it was very weird because it was like, okay, cool. So a man to whom I owe being here, but I don't have that much of a relationship with. Like, what do I do? How do I process it? And yeah, I was asked to help with my brothers and my cousins to carry Granddad, the coffin, you know, into the, what do you say? Because it wasn't a church, it was like a,
I don't know.
Venue. Into the venue. Yes. It was a crematorium, I think it was, but it was into the venue from the hearse, to which I thought it was a huge honour, you know, to be asked, and to which obviously I was like, yeah, of course, like, you know, I like to think I'm that person as well. If people need me, I'll be there. Do you know what I mean? And go on, darling.
No, for me, it's just been such a beautiful thing to see the relationship between you and your dad, like Dad Brighty, because you're similar. Man. He's a very good man, and you know, in all honesty, I'm not someone to trust people just like that. But from all the emotions that happened when we first met Mum and Dad, Brighty, like, and everything that happened at the time, like I felt like I could trust myself with him, my emotions with him, and you know, he's never let us down.
No,
and
not at all.
It's been beautiful to see the fact that you guys have been able to, like, banter with each other, spend time together, doing things that maybe, like, you wouldn't have been able to do when you, obviously, because you didn't know each other as a child, like building things, and Dad's come round so many times, obviously in the past when people could come round, and like do like DIY jobs at the house for us, and then ribbed him for not doing certain things sometimes, and to be like, yeah, Dad, thanks, you're here, kind of thing. Just those little kind of, like, you know, dad son things that are just funny, like seeing that happen, and the fact that you guys have got like a similar personality as well in ways, not exactly the same obviously, but in ways it's just been nice to kind of see that, and
that it happened with no experience of knowing one another.
Yeah,
do you know
precisely,
what I mean?
Precisely. And for something that I thought was quite special, without maybe going too deep into the story, but to be honest, in all honesty, I feel like Granddad Brighty might have been quite a deciding factor as to why you ended up being put up for adoption. But God knows everything, and at the time...
Well, I'm not sure on that side. I think that was more on the other side, because it actually came out on my mum's side. My mum's parents actually apologised to me.
Oh, was it your mum's parents?
To which I was like, you don't go apologise. I think it was a good idea. Like, I think it was a great plan. I don't feel an ounce of, like, pain or what's it when you kind of feeling like angry towards someone, like I just don't feel any bad way towards them, because I ended up with Mum and Dad Grimwade.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
And I had a great upbringing, like really great, and I wouldn't have met Ella. The Grimwade family wouldn't be.
Yeah,
do you know
because
what I mean?
I think both parents, I'd seen both grandparents at that time did what was right for their kids, and I know
100%.
like great granddad to the kids, Granddad Brighty, and Nan Brighty did what they felt was best for Dad Stuart then. I think they went away, was it to Norfolk, and opened the pub and all that kind of stuff. And like they need to obviously do something for them as a family. And you know, Tim ended up in adoption, and like Tim said, it's been the best thing that could have happened for him.
One of the best things that ever happened to me, because that is the whole reason everything's like the way it is
today, precisely.
And now we know them too.
Yeah,
and I got to meet my grandparents. On both sides,
and it was an honour. I feel like the timing of when things happened, the fact that we was able to meet not only your parents but your grandparents as well. 100%. Obviously, a lot of people that even do grow up in their natural families don't even get to meet their grandparents and stuff like that. You know, but you had that honour, and I feel like it's been such a blessing that we was able to see where you came from.
Absolutely.
And then being able to sit down and have chats and whatnot.
And continue to build a relationship.
And also feel completely welcome as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is something Nan and Granddad definitely did.
Not even being funny, but the first thing, obviously, our family think about when you meet other white people is, are they going to accept Ella? Obviously, it's sad that you have to think that in this day and age.
I went through all of Dad's Facebook and I was like, oh, is there any black people?
But it's the real, do you know what I mean? And you know we're always going to talk that way. So, but it's been nothing but love. Do you know what I mean? Nothing but love on both sides. And it's been exciting. If anything, I feel like they might have enjoyed the learning about another culture, and they talk, you know, so proudly about their grandchildren and great grandchildren. Yeah,
and it was like is it the eulogy when they were speaking, and they said, you know, and Granddad, his name was Donald, but everyone called him Don. He had 10 great grandchildren. I'm like, 6 of those were ours. Do you know what I mean? And that was
to be in the eulogy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's touching stuff, and my name was there.
And also for him to have left this world knowing that he's got 10 great grandchildren. You know, do you know what I mean? Because he probably would have known of 4. But he's been able to have the experience of having 10, which is beautiful.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, sorry.
That's what you want. No, it's not even a problem, because I'm not always great with words. Not when it's something that means something.
Yeah, of
Do you know
course.
what I mean?
You definitely felt it on the day, because even on the car on the way to the funeral, Tim was like, babe, am I acting odd?
Yeah.
And that's not a question you often ask me.
I don't ask that.
And I said, a little, but it's to be expected. It's an emotional day, but like we said, you kind of, not that you don't want to feel an emotion, and you fully want to be there, because your heart is there to comfort, you know, your family, obviously, and it's your family as well that you've lost. No, and I was just going to say, but it's, again, we didn't have the relationship, we didn't have the time and the moments.
Yeah, and that was what was a real Twilight Zone for me, because I know you are my granddad, I know that I owe to you being here, but I don't necessarily know you you know, maybe I would have liked to, but also seeing my other family really sad. And also I've got a thing where I'm the eldest sibling, so I have a duty in my head to make sure everyone's all right, all my siblings, and stuff like that. And you know, it's literally weird. The only way I can explain it is, I think it's in Avengers, there is a scene where basically everything is going wrong and they are losing. And it slows down, and you see this one in problems, you see that one in problems. Yeah. I think it's Avengers. I think it's Iron Man that's looking out, or something like that. And it's just going, you know, there's pain and, you know, problems going on all around you, but you're just kind of there. But it's almost like an out of body experience. You're there, but you're not there. But you're cognizant of all of the pain and hurt around you, and your desire is to help. But what do you do? Do you know what I mean? But how? So. Yeah,
and I hope Grimwade again, obviously you can feel kind of the emotion that we felt, or you know what kind of vibe there was for us, because it was one that obviously we'd never experienced before.
Yeah.
And you know, we were so pleased to have been included in the funeral, because especially at the moment you can only have a certain amount of people there. So, and just to have been there, like Tim said, for the other family members, because you know, you want to, as much as you can, help and show everyone that you're there in support, which I feel like, I hope that the family feels like we did. And it's also just a reminder to really appreciate the time that you do have with those that are your loved ones around you, and the ones that you're still getting to know.
100%.
Because often life can go by, do you know what I mean? And you get so caught up with the day-to-day that you just don't necessarily have time to always call or message, or, do you know what I mean? Whatever it might be, meet up when we're allowed to meet again. But exactly. Yeah, it just really brings home the fact of what is important in life and 100%. Relationships with each other. I definitely got emotional at the funeral, because I saw everybody else crying, and I was like, oh my gosh. And even just like I said before, the grandchildren being mentioned in it, and I'm like, this is actually real. This actually relates to my family. Which, again, was a bit of an odd, exactly,
type of
thing. Yeah, but it was lovely again that Granddad Don got to meet all the children. He didn't get to meet Houston, obviously.
But to be honest, not many people have, because of the
current
unfortunate
situation. But he obviously met 5 of his grandchildren, which again, of his great grandchildren, which again is a massive blessing.
Yeah.
And we just kind of wanted to share it with you guys. You know, like, we try and share big moments in our life with you, let you see our heart. Go on, babes.
No. I think in closing, you know, and if you want to know anything else, then please just ask. I'm not precious like that. Like, I wouldn't answer. Obviously, I've got the adoption video, my adoption story, I believe it's called. It's one of our earliest videos. And people seem to have been encouraged by that. And I hope likewise they'd be encouraged by this. But basically, I say all of this to say, my adoption was a blessing to me, and our ways are not always God's ways. Do you know what I mean? God has his own plan, but the way our life's worked out now, like, I couldn't have written it better myself. Do you know what I mean? Even if I wanted to.
You're pretty good at writing, babe.
I'm all right. And but at the same time, we owe that all to what's gone before. So thank you. And I encourage anyone out there who may be adopted or whatever.
If you have a question, like, I wonder what it'd be like.
100%. And also, I would challenge you, if you are feeling negative about it at all, to try your best to put yourself in their shoes when they may have had you. I'm not saying every situation is going to be the same. Of course it's not. They're all going to be very unique and very different. But in our particular situation, I don't feel like we could have made it any better or my mum and dad could have made it any better. And so, So Grimwade gang, I hope you've enjoyed our story time. You know, it's nice to just sit down and chat with you a bit here.
Sorry the kids weren't here to say hi. But
yes, they are here. They're just there. But,
you'll see them in a video very soon.
Oh yeah, they'll be in the next one, I'm pretty sure. So guys, we love you. And like we said, comments in the comment section below, please. Hit us up on Instagram at the Grimwade family, or at Timothy Grimwade, or at Ella Grimwade. And we'll talk to you real soon. God bless you.